Now let's move on to the Tennessee Titans, which the other ones were asking questions. This one I think is just a fact. The Titans are in a complete rebuild, right? So last year they were 6-11. They let go of their longtime favorite coach of the internet and of football in Mike Vrabel. They had the 30th, or they have the 30th ranked O line going into the season. So not great. They were tied with the Packers, I believe, for 17th in total defense last year, 18th against the pass, 13th against the rush. In offense, however, they were 28th in the league in total offense, 29th in the pass, 17th in the running. They got a new head coach in Brian Callahan, who was the offensive coordinator for the last 5 years with the Bengals. And then they got two new coordinators for the offense and the defense. For the offense, it is Nick Holtz. Now it's spelled Holz. No T in there, but it's pronounced Holtz. So why wouldn't you just throw a T in there between the L and the Z? But whatever. So it's Holes, but it's pronounced Holtz. So in 2023, I was also like, who are these guys? The offensive and the defensive coordinator. I remember them saying when this got announced that Callahan was coming over from the Bengals, where he was, the architect along with Burrow and that whole squad over there. Their coach, whose name I'm blanking on. Oh, that's going to bug me, but we'll get to them when we talk about the Bengals. But Holtz was the 2023 passing game coordinator for the Jags. He was the UNLV offensive coordinator for 1 year, which is crazy because we're recording this in Vegas. And then he also worked with the Raiders offense in different capacities for over 10 years. Denard Wilson, on the other hand, he was the DB's coach for the Ravens in 2023. He was also the defensive game coordinator and defensive back coach for the Eagles in that Super Bowl season. So a lot of Eagles talk in this AFC South discussion, but yeah, this Titans team in the first round, they took J.C. Latham from Alabama, the offensive tackle. They took Sweat, the defensive tackle from Texas, and then a linebacker in the fourth and a quarterback in the fifth. Now, with their offseason additions, they signed Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver formerly of the Falcons, spent 1 year with the Jaguars. They signed Tony Pollard, the running back that we saw on the Cowboys, who when he had to be the feature back, I don't think he stepped up to the plate. So it's weird that they essentially signed him as the Derrick Henry replacement, even though we have seen what happens when Pollard is the workhorse. And then they signed Cushenberry, the center from Denver. They also re-signed defensive tackle Joseph Day, wide receiver Westbrook. I'm not even going to pronounce that last name. Mason Rudolph, the former quarterback of the Steelers. Weird similarities to Will Levis, but I guess you want your quarterback to just be your backup quarterback to just be your starting quarterback, so you don't have to change the offense much. Then they sign Murray Jr., linebackers, a couple cornerbacks, a kicker, a long snapper. Nothing really. The big signings were Calvin Ridley and Cushenberry, and then Pollard, if you think that's a big signing. So, yeah, this Titans team, I'm excited to see what they are offensively because, again, their offense for so long was just give Derrick Henry the ball 30 times and then make Ryan Tannehill throw the ball 12 times, and then we'll just eke out wins with running the ball down somebody's throat and then, play good defense. And that's how they beat the Patriots in Tom Brady's last game in the playoffs and stuff like that. Remember, the Titans were the number one seed in the AFC, 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, maybe. So this is a team that fell off rather quickly. And then it became one of those things where, especially under Vrabel, they never had a passing attack. They never had any sort of passing game. Their projected win total is 6.5 this year. I believe both Casito and I went under on that. Yeah, so both Casino and I went under. I mean, how could you not? It just what even what the only thing you can hope for this team is their new coaching hire is great. DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley can maybe rejuvenate what was one of the worst passing attacks in the league. Is Will Levis good? I don't think so, but maybe that's again just because he was under a defensive coach where he had no, you know, he didn't have to throw it because again, we're going to give the ball to Derrick Henry. So they're starting depth chart right here is Will Levis, Tony Pollard as their starting running back, which I do not like, but he can be paired with Tajee Spears, who I actually do like and thought had a pretty decent year last year. Calvin Ridley, DeAndre Hopkins, Tyler Boyd from the Bengals, so coming over with his offensive coordinator. New starting left tackle, J.C. Latham, Cushenberry starting center, and then you look at basically the same defense they had last year, including L'Jarius Sneed, which they got from the Chiefs. So, and then Jamal Adams as well from the Jets. So, this honestly, this team, again, if they can just figure out this offense without Derrick Henry, this again has the potential to be a good team. Do I think they will be? No, but with any team, we can say this. If the new coaching staff comes in and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, everything clicks now. All of a sudden, they're like the Texans of last year, right? They're like the Lions, where you take all these misfit toys, put them together, and then it's like, oh, we just needed a coach and a change of philosophy. And now all of a sudden we've turned it around and we're contenders. In this division, I mean, Jaguars, Colts, Titans, and then Houston was only good for 1 year, right? So all these teams, who knows this year? It could just be all these teams are maybe like the AFC North, right? Where it's like everybody's kind of there, everybody's kind of around each other. Now, I have as many question marks about this team, probably more than I do the Colts. What are they going to be good at? Is Will Levis even a good quarterback? Can Tony Pollard be a workhorse back, or can Tajee Spears be a workhorse back? Are they just going to do a 1-2 punch? I don't know what this offense looks like. We saw the Bengals offense for 5 years just be led by a really great quarterback. I don't think Levis is, he might potentially with, Daniel Jones, with who I think is a bad quarterback, and Bryce Young, he might be one of the top 5 worst starting quarterbacks to start week 1, right? But again, maybe that was just because he was under a defensive coach. Who knows?